Good and bad and non-duality. So I was recently asked, what is the opposite of good in non-duality? Fun question. It was actually asked as a joke, but it shows the deepest misconception that we all have about non-duality. People thinking that non-duality means that two things don't exist, that opposite things can't exist. And that's not what non duality means at all. Non duality simply means that there are not two of you. Most of us live in a divided state where sometimes we're one thing and sometimes we're another thing, and we can be drifted into one thing and we can be convinced that we're something else. So we live in this divided state where we're always looking for ourselves. Non duality means there's only one you. Back to our question, there's not a good you and a bad you. You can sometimes do good things. You can sometimes do bad things. You can sometimes do things that are somewhere in the middle there, right? But it's always you, the same you, doing those good things or those bad things. You can have two apples. There can be two trees in the forest. There can be a million trees in the forest. You can have more than one emotion that happens. All things can be named, but those things are not you. And also, the name of those things aren't the thing. Like you can say a cat, cat, the word cat. That word, you say that word, and I pretty much know what you mean, but I don't know exactly what you mean by cat. So you can't completely, totally define things with words. So not only is there just one you, our ability to define things is limited. But the you that is undivided is fine with that. The you that is divided worries about that incessantly. We must define it completely to understand it. It's like, no, you can just look at a cat and understand the cat. You can just look at good things you've done to understand good. You can look at bad things you've done to understand bad. Good and bad are simply definitions of things. There's a million gray areas in between, right? The solid, undivided you doesn't have a problem with that. The divided you wants everything to be put into categories. So, what's the opposite of good in non duality? It's really a moot question because good and bad do exist. They're things that we have defined ish. And really, maybe that's what we should always say in non duality. It's been defined ish. Since you can't completely define anything, right? But you know what I mean when I say good, right? You know what I mean when I say bad. And all of us, I assume, have done things that have not really worked out all that well. And when we look back, we can see that our intentions were not good when we did them. We can find what was really going on in there. All of us have done things that are good. We've been helpful. There's so many good things that people can do. So what's the opposite of good in non-duality? It's a moot question. And that's kind of where non-duality always wants to take us, to this place of, they call it unknowing, but it's really the place of solid reality, where we don't need to define everything down to its nth degree. The place of pure life. There are opposites. Opposites exist everywhere. It's why the universe kind of gets held together. But there's only one you. And all of non-dual studies are about locating that you. Once you are located, then there's only one you doing all these various things. And life becomes so much more possible.